Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and a hey now. Hour number 3 of the Line Talk 99.5. Thank you for hanging out with us. Even if you think that I'm falling for the propaganda. What, by the way, what propaganda? Like literally all the media that I see is anti-Trump. So, like, wouldn't me falling for the propaganda be like denouncing Trump? I mean, everything is anti-Trump. How can I be falling for propaganda if I'm supporting Trump? Anyway, Noto Roofing, NOTO Noto Roofing.com. That's your roofing guys. Give them a shout. Get that free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up. They're going to take care of you, as you know. And tell them I sent you. That's right. Tell them you're part of the Hey Now Nation, and these guys will hook you up for sure. They're good at what they do, man. They take care of my people. So if you support the show and you think you need that roof inspected, now's the time to do it, man. Go ahead and set something up. They'll be glad to come out at your convenience and get you squared away. 205-848-2299. That's 848-2299. NoToRoofing.com. Let's go back to the phone, shall we? 205-545-9950. Clarissa's up first. Clarissa, how are you?
Hey, man, I don't understand some of your callers like Nate being fixated on Israel. These are some extremely ungrateful whiny babies. The president of the United States they come into information when they take office, and Trump was clearly out of office when Biden was in. So in 2025, the Trump admin intelligence, they saw a window to act where there was going to be less fallout from previously when they could succeed with lower risks in the first Trump administration because Iran was closer to nuclear breakout than ever before. Trump has bent over backwards to keep America safe from immigration to Iran, and I guess some of your callers just don't understand proactive with minimal fallout versus reactive with maximum fallout. You hired the man to do a job, Nate. Let the man do his dang job. You said keyword unnecessary wars. In my book, nuclear weapons coupled with death to America is a necessary act. Trump supporters don't give him a blank check. There's lots of times that he said things just like your caller Robert said that, we're like, man, why did he say that? Why did Trump say that? But what we are is as Trump supporters, we are critical thinkers. We have watched Iran over the decades become more and more sinister. If Nate is going to quote Trump, he also needs to quote him saying amongst his 2026 objectives that he was going to prevent Iran from ever acquiring a nuclear weapon. He's been saying this for decades. Like you said, during the 80s, he's not starting a war. He's ending one. Trump prefers deals and diplomacy, but that's not a language that Iran speaks. That's all I got, Andrew.
All right, thank you, Clarissa. That's a great point, by the way, is that this whole situation with Iran is not new. So you're not starting a war. He's actually ending a war that's been going on with Iran for decades that presidents of the past have always promised to do but would never do it. And the other point is, and I think Clarissa really nails it here, is the information that the president of the United States has. We live in a society to where people think that because they have an X account, that they have as much information as the president of the United States does. The president, no matter who it may be, but in this case, Trump has far more information about what Iran's doing, what their plans are, what they plan on doing going forward than anybody on Twitter does. But because you've got an X account and you see all these different things being said, you feel like, hey, I've got all the information I need. Not to mention this idea that Israel's the one that told Trump to do it. It's like, do we not have our own intelligence? Or we just have to rely on Israel to tell us what to do? Come on, man. Come on, cuz. Use your brain, people. Bubba Rumble up next. Bubba, what's up?
Oh, hi, Andrew.
Hey, now.
So, do you think Trump is doing a good job as president?
Apparently too much so.
Really? Me too. Did we just become best friends?
I think we did.
Woohoo! Trumpity Trump, 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 Trump in the house, baby.
Yeah, well, we're just falling for the propaganda.
I know it's feeble-minded, like Trump bootlickers. That's just I have to live my lie. And I don't like people shattering my Trump bubble with their nihilistic cynicism. So just like back off, haters. And it's funny in a world where there's like countless radio programs, TV shows, podcasts, how people will hone in on a show that just pisses them off every day and call in and be a doomer troll. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't understand it. I try to make sense of it, and y'all hear me do it. I try to wrap my mind around why people, feel the way they feel. But I think, I really think, and I know I sound like an old timer, but I really think social media has got a lot to do with it. I think, and I also think things become trendy, narratives become trendy, like the fact that everything, like this whole thing is on being done on behalf of Benjamin Netanyahu, and that the Israeli government or whoever has got complete and total control over everything that Donald Trump does. It's become a popular narrative on the internet, so people have grasped onto it and said, well, that makes sense to me, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, it's like the talking point du jour, and it's like now it's cool to throw shade at Trump. And
it's like listening to it's like watching Nick Fuentes clips. All right, so Nick Fuentes, if you watch him for any length of time, he will go back and forth on issues and how he feels about a particular issue because he is an entertainer, right? He's in the business of getting super chats and getting clicks and everything else. He flip-flops back and forth on stuff all the time. He'll take his support for Trump, and he'll, 1 month he supports Trump. The next month he's telling people to vote for Democrats in the midterms. Like, this is a guy you can't take seriously because he's not in the business of being serious. Like, he's trying to get people riled up on the internet, but unfortunately there's a lot of people that do that, and then it ends up spreading, and then, it becomes this whole thing.
Well, I'll probably rile some people up on the radio right now by saying Tucker is in that same boat as Nick Fuentes now. And, he's just going for clicks because that's all he is now, as a podcaster. And, I was hoping he would do something good once he got out from under Fox, like Glenn Beck did. He's not – I'm like about half and half on Glenn Beck. Some days I just got to turn the show off. But he left Fox, and now he's got his own empire. You know what I mean? And he's done well for himself. And I thought Tucker might follow that same route. But
and Tucker was doing good for a while. Like in his immediate exit from Fox, he was doing fantastic. Like he was getting huge numbers and everything else. And I don't know if people just, because there's so many options out there in podcast world that he started, hemorrhaging numbers or what. But something happened.
Yeah. I think he probably got an offer he couldn't refuse, including millions of dollars from Middle Eastern donors and a house in Qatar somehow. But, there's plenty of people that the newly found Trump haters can go like follow and listen to without having to try to bring everybody else down when we see a good thing happening. And I'll tell you one thing, you got to get a hotline number going to Clarissa, and anybody comes in with their doom or Trump hate stuff, she'd immediately have to debate Clarissa on the subject, and we'll see how it goes from there.
I agree. She was fired up today. I like it.
She's fire, man. I dig her. She's one smart person and well-spoken. And I would imagine most of these doomer trolls. I almost thought like maybe Nate was like Brett's cousin or something. At that same level.
Maybe that you say the word doomer. Here's what I'm thinking. We've got the generations. We've got the millennials. We got the boomers. Maybe this generation should be called the doomers. We got from the boomers to the doomers.
Like find something to believe in. Don't just like live for the current headline of the day. You know what I mean? And nobody's ever going to make me not like Trump. In fact, the more I hear stuff like that, the more I strengthen my resolve to be a Trumpster to the day I die. Trumpty Trump in the house.
No doubt. All right, Bubba.
All right, I'm out. Hey now.
I'm going to get Barry next, but I know Barry's probably, if this is the Barry I'm thinking it is, he's going to have a lot to say. So, Barry, if you can hang with me for just a couple more minutes, I'm going to take this break so I don't have to rush you. We'll come back on the other side, and get more of your phone calls. 205-545-9950, the line, Talk 99.5. Dr. McGrady says on the text line, we need to export Popeyes to Iran. They will be on the toilet and unable to enrich any uranium, which is not a bad idea, honestly. John says, Nate the basement dweller called Leland's show and told us all to let go of Trump's nuts. Nate is an uneducated fool. Just play Fortnite and shut up. Yeah, I didn't hear that call. Let's see. Brett says Nate tried same with Leland. It didn't work out. Ann says Clarissa needs her own show. Wanda says haters just trying to stay relevant. Let's see. Richard the cop says, he says Bubba Rumble, Tom from Pell City, Biometric, Richard the Cop, Dixter, we are the Hey Now Nation, and the Gangsters for Trump. Clarissa also. You want to put Clarissa in that group. Anyway, there's a bunch of text there. I'll get to them. Barry's on the line. Barry, what's up, buddy?
Hello, Andrew. How you doing?
Good, my friend.
You know, I want to make a comment about a few things. And one thing I want to talk about is the Republican Party. You know, we're a great party. We have flaws. We make mistakes. We got a great leader in President Trump. But we have a poor set of selections that we make. So John Thune is garbage. Mike Johnson is garbage. They've not been effective at nothing. They're scared of their own shadow. You know, you're telling me if you put a Democrat in control, they use every ounce of their power. They don't back down. They fight like bulldogs. So we don't want to get rid of the filibuster because it's going to offend Democrats. You know, when you go back to John Solomon, when you look at what he was talking about with indicting Comey and Brennan and all these people, he gave a synopsis of what happened. The Senate Intelligence Committee was given data, and they shared it with the Democrats. The Democrats wanted to craft their language, so John Thune is helping them to do that. Nobody talks about that. We got the wrong attorney general. We had Bundy. She's a good person. We got Blanche. She's a good guy. But they're not fit for the job. They're not ready. You got to have a grizzly bear. You got to have a Greg Jarrett. You know, you got to have a Joe DeGeneva type of person to take that position. Does anybody understand that the attorney general spot in the United States is the most powerful position in the government outside of the president? And all of the lawfare that's going against President Trump, we've done nothing about it. We've allowed the Democrats to set the narrative because the Republicans are scared of their own shadow. We're a bunch of punks. I'm calling them punks. We don't message well. Okay, the Democrats talk about race and bigotry. They don't talk about facts and politics as it relates to human beings. They don't talk about policy. They don't talk about the issues at hand. They don't talk about women not wanting a man in their bathroom. We don't talk about, the Democrats don't talk about men playing women's sports because they can't win the narrative. They can't win the argument. So they talk about race. They talk about the white man and the black man, and they talk about all of the bigotry that goes on. Where is it? Where is it? They talk about all of the white Aryan nations. Show me some. I want to see them. The problem is we let Democrats set the narrative, and we don't fight back because Republicans are not men no more. They're boys. They're a bunch of punks. They want to be elected. They want Democrats to like them. Andrew, I can give a damn if you like me a lot. If I'm telling the truth and I'm giving you the facts for the American public, the people, that's all that matters. We talk about the war. We went to war with Iran because we had to. President Trump did the right thing. Every other president knew we had to do this. Even dumbass Kamala Harris in 24 said it. She said it before the election. They knew what they had to do, but they have no will. But because President Trump has the balls to do what needs to be done, they hate his guts. Okay, you hate me, but I love America. So what do we do wrong? We sent 2 carrier groups over there, and we should have sent 5. When you're dealing with Iran, you're not dealing with Venezuela. They're thin-skinned. When you're dealing with the Iranians, you're dealing with thick-skinned, ideological people. These people are crazy. They believe that they're going to go to heaven, and they're going to have 72 virgins. They believe that. They literally believe it. So what does that mean? It means you got to fight them like a damn dog. You got to pound them every day. You got to beat them in the ground. You got to aspirate them because that's the only way they respect you. They don't respect Trump and his rhetoric. They're rearming. That's what they're doing. And we allowed this. I don't understand it. We shouldn't have given a pause. The only reason we gave a pause is because we had to rearm. I got that. But the problem is we didn't go strong enough. We didn't. And I don't care what anybody tells me, you can never let up on the devil. It's like a Democrat, they're the devil. These people hate America. They hate our guts because we're conservatives. We love America because of what it represents, the freedom, the liberty, the morality that we have in this country. We love one another. Blacks and whites can get along. We have to get along. We do that. We got some mistakes. We got things that go wrong from time to time. Okay, let's correct that. But by and large, we live together. But Republicans don't tell the story. They don't tell the story of the Republican. They don't tell the story of liberty and freedom. They don't tell the story of economics. Everything we represent is to beautify the public in America. It's to beautify the brilliancy in America. It's to beautify the people. America is a great place. Let's tell the story. Let's talk about it. We got an imperfect country just like every other place, but show me a better place. Republicans don't tell the story. President Trump makes a lot of mistakes. He does a great job, but he makes a lot of mistakes. He talks too damn much. You can't negotiate with the devil and telling the devil on the other side you're going to give them a pass by the good people. You don't do that. You have to verify that. You got to verify. You got to say, I trust you when you verify yourself. We're not doing that. He talks before the signatures are put on the paper. You can't do that. You're dealing with the devil. Democrats and the Iranians are just alike. They're one and the same. How do you tell me in America? You celebrate for America to lose a war. You celebrate everything bad to happen. You take Chris Murphy. You take George Soros' son, went to Spain, and they bashed America. They hate our guts. These people are the devil. They're the worst. They're the demonic. You know, you think about a nuclear weapon. Let me say this I'm a trained scientist. Let me say this for a minute. If you look at the atomic weapon that Iran wants to create, if they use it, it burns hotter than the sun. The sun burns at around 27 million degrees, 15 million degrees centigrade. There's nothing in life that can stand that. Nothing. If you drop it in California, it's going to ruin the nation. It's going to ruin everything. You drop it in Birmingham, wherever you drop it, it's over. And for someone to tell me that we shouldn't go to war, we shouldn't fight for what these people want to do to us, they need their head examined.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And I appreciate you putting it like that because I don't think that gets talked about enough with the actual aspects of what a nuclear bomb would do. That's
Absolutely.
kind of a big deal. Barry, always love when you call in, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Call me back anytime. Barry is he's our resident preacher on this show. I don't know if you all have noticed that, but he is he's the line minister right here on 99.5. 205-545-9950. Mandu bringing you this part of the show. MANDUU.com. Got my Mandu on yesterday. My man Caleb trained me. He was my trainer. Do I call that training me? I guess that would be training me. He helped me get my workout in, did it, bada bing, bada boom. Felt good leaving Mandu, good enough to get out there and get the job done, the household stuff, get the car's oil changed, go to the car wash, and then still enough energy to go to TJ Maxx and Walmart and Raising Cane's. It was just an adventure after Mandu. 15-minute workout, as you know. You hear me talk about it every day, and this is your sign. I'm talking to you. This is your sign to get your free session, whether you want to get it done in Homewood, Huntsville, or Tuscaloosa. All three of those locations for you. Get a free session and check it out. See if it's something you want to do. I think it will be. I run into listeners often when I go up there and do my workout. So I know y'all are listening to me, but there's some of y'all out there that ain't even done the free session yet. You can get in shape, man. And I'm telling you, it takes, you will see a difference so fast. For those of you, and it's most of us. Most of us we think to ourselves, like, man, I really wish I could get in shape. I just don't have time to do it. This is it. This is the ticket to make that happen. And, you can say to yourself, it's not for me or whatever, but you're not going to know until you go try it out. So please do it. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. It's really not just about you. It's about your spouse. It's about your kids. It's about your grandkids. You want to be around for them for as long as you can. Get your health on track, man. And I'm not asking you to go up there and do that and then do a bunch of other stuff. Just do Mandu for now and watch the progress and the results roll in. I'm telling you, you're going to see it and you're going to be amazed by it. 205-438-6003. That's the number to Homewood, but all the information for all three locations is at the website, mandu.com, MANDUU.com. You can get your free session there, or you can call them. Just make sure you tell them Andrew McLean sent ya. Text line talking about Barry. This guy's nailing it, says Jake. Kitty says, preach it. He's 100% right. Scott says, damn, Barry, mic drop. Andrew, you should just end the show right now. I thought about it, actually. Ronnie says, man, I love Barry. He has passion, and you can tell he loves our country. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they will use it. And that's what's crazy to me is that I think people just don't understand. It comes in the form of maybe it's because previous leadership has not done anything and that we feel like, we shouldn't have to be dealing with this or whatever. But in the real world, there are real consequences for sitting on your hands. What's that quote? God, I don't want to misquote it. Let's see. Let's just Google like I always do. Let's see. It's something to the effect of evil triumphs when good men do nothing, right? It's something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but that is so true because if we just sit on the sidelines and just say, let it play out how it's going to play out, the people that hate you, hate your wife, hate your kids, they hate your family, hate everything you stand for, they hate your religion, they hate your God, they will not hesitate to obliterate you. They don't care about your politics. They don't care how you feel about the Jews. They don't care about none of that. If you're not Muslim, their job, according to their ideology, according to their religion, these particular people are to eliminate you. And if they've got an option to drop a bomb that's explosion is hotter than the sun and can just wipe you all out at once, don't you think they'd do that? I think they probably would. Just come on. Let's use some common sense here. And this is nothing new. We all used to agree on this. We all used to be on the same page that the extremist Muslims across the world chanting death to America actually wanted death to America. I've even seen people try to explain that away. They're like, oh, no, they just mean death to capitalism. They just mean death to, death to American way of life. They want to kill you. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's not going to change how they feel. No matter what you do or what you say on X or how you feel, their feelings do not change. And so thank God for leadership that is addressing this issue, an issue that president after president after president, congressmen, representatives, everybody, Democrat and Republican, have talked about for years and years and years, saying, hey, y'all, we better stop them because they're going to get a nuclear weapon. Somebody finally did it. Somebody finally did it. Now everybody's panties is in a wad. Okay. Sometimes I just want to throw my hands up and be like, listen, ain't nothing you can do about it, so just sit back and enjoy the ride. All right? But I'm in the business of commentating on this stuff, so I'm going to entertain it. I'm just going to entertain it. Anyway, let me back up because there's several things I want to get to, and I think I got enough time to do so. As we started the show, Donald Trump this morning talking about the reports that the Iranians are possibly putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz in order to close it, right? He puts out the tweet, as you've already seen and heard. This is Trump, I have ordered the United States Navy to shoot and kill any boat, small boats though they may be, their naval ships are all 159 of them at the bottom of the sea, that is putting mines in the waters of the Strait of Hormuz. There is to be no hesitation. Additionally, our minesweepers are clearing the strait right now. I am hereby ordering that activity to continue, but at a tripled up level. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that is currently what's going on, but he follows up with this tweet. Remember, we're in a 3 to 5 day ceasefire. Day 2, or would this be day 3? Is this day 2 or day 3? I don't even know. But he says on Truth Social, Iran is having a very hard time figuring out who their leader is. They just don't know. The infighting is between the hardliners, who have been losing badly on the battlefield, and the moderates, who are not very moderate at all, but gaining respect, is crazy. We have total control over the Strait of Hormuz. No ship can enter or leave without the approval of the United States Navy. It is sealed up tight until such time as Iran is able to make a deal. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it's up to y'all. And again, the most efficient, effective way that this could possibly be done, I don't think there's any other president that would have been doing it this way. You would have already had boots on the ground. You would have had our men and women fighting in the streets of Tehran, likely. Or you would have had some sort of arming of the general public, of the civilians of Iran, that would have turned into an absolute disaster. You would have had some idiotic move made by a different president. So when Donald Trump on the campaign trail says, Kamala is going to get us in a war, that's what he's talking about. We're not in a war. We're in an operation that's strangling off Iran. We've just increased our assets in the Middle East. We have gone through, were we at war when we bombed their nuclear facilities, reducing them to rubble? And the argument that, you said, why are we in the Middle East? I thought we destroyed their nuclear facilities. Well, nuclear facilities and nuclear material are two different things. It's very simple. It's not complicated. The nuclear facility is where you make the nuclear material. The nuclear material is different than the place that you make it. So it's two different anyway, I try to explain this stuff as simply as possible, but sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. Donald Trump also ripping the Supreme Court, a new one, and the Democrats on Truth Social. I'll get to that in a moment. First, let me get Daniel. Daniel, what's up?
Hey, Andrew, what's going on? Man, I wish that the Republicans or just anyone could come out and articulate exactly what is truly going on over in Iran. You have one operational nuclear reactor in the entire country. There's only one, and it's a Russian-designed nuclear reactor, which means it is a light water reactor. It runs on low-level enriched uranium, 5 to 10%. There is zero reason for them to have uranium enriched up to 60% or 80%, which is weapons grade. There is no reason because the reactor doesn't run on highly enriched uranium. The uranium-235 they got came out of Russia. They started shipping it the moment that they built that thing. This was all a ruse in a fossil-based fuel-built economy. All they do is run on fossil fuels over there.
So, Daniel, tell the audience tell the audience this. Why in the world would the Iranian regime have uranium in the first place?
Oh, man, I am so glad you asked that question. Death to America. Ayatollah Khomeini, once he came into power, was upset at the 8 Years' War where we pulled out. We were in there. Reagan had us there under the ruse that we were going to help the Iranians. We weren't there to help the Iranians. We were there to sell them weapons to get money to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. And instead, when we pulled out, Saddam Hussein went in there and tried to essentially create genocide for 8 years, the 8 Years' War that happened. Ayatollah Khomeini comes into power and has hated the United States with a passion, has screamed death to America. This nuclear reactor was nothing but a ruse so they could get their hands on uranium-235 because they had no reason to have it. And every other nuclear site in that country is an enrichment site. And the only reason to enrich it up to 80% is for weapons capability. They want to get their hands on enough of that to create a bomb. They already have ballistic missile capability. The next step is intercontinental ballistic capability. And when they have that, don't think for 1 second they will not launch. And if someone out there who is much more articulate than myself could explain that to the American people, maybe they would understand what's really going on.
No,
Trump said he's going to blow out all the nuclear reactors. There's only one. There is only one operational power plant that's over there. The other one has been under construction since 2007, has never been finished. They don't need it to be finished because they got what they needed from the first one. Their hands on the uranium, and they started enriching it. Low-level uranium reactors cannot operate because you have to have a buffer. The buffer is the water. If it's a heavy water, it can go up to around 20 to 25% enriched uranium. Still nowhere near 80% threshold. That is purely weapons grade. They're at 60%, and they're continuously enriching. The only reason for that is to create a bomb. And the first place they're going to send it, it'll be airmailed right over here to the United States if they had the capability.
Yep, that's it. Well, maybe we can.
I just wanted somebody to truly understand what's going on and the reason behind what's going on. They have no reason to have this uranium. The enriched uranium that they have, nobody's saying you can't have a nuclear reactor. Their design is the Russian design. It's not the British design. The British one runs off of heavy water. This one runs off of light water. Light water reactors they don't have enough buffering to handle the heavier enriched uranium.
Yeah.
But neither one of those handles 60% enriched uranium. Neither one do.
Well,
So
I'm gonna take this phone call and I'm gonna run it through ChatGPT so I can transcribe it, and I'm gonna send it to the GOP in Congress and see if they'll use it.
Do it, brother. Do it, brother.
All
I
right, man.
appreciate you, Andrew. Thank you so much.
All right, Daniel. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's then I think that's a lot of the problem is nobody really, whether you don't have the time or nobody feels like it's really even gets in the weeds. Most people that are making the arguments about this stuff on really one side or the other don't even understand how the uranium stuff works, and with uranium that goes with nuclear power plants and everything else. I saw a fascinating video on it was actually funny because they turned it into like this punk emo song, but it was explaining how nuclear power plants work and how they're actually not very they're not detrimental. They're not like a bad thing. They're actually very beneficial and very effective. And to see how it works and how it runs through, the tubes and being surrounded by water and producing steam and all this other stuff. It's interesting. I encourage you guys to maybe go and look up some videos on how nuclear reactors work. But Iran, at the end of the day, as Daniel said, has no need whatsoever. And I don't even know that Iran, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, are making the argument that they need this uranium to power their country. But if anybody is making that argument, it is a moot point. Like there's no ability to use 60% enriched uranium to power your country. So anyway, good stuff, Daniel. I appreciate it, buddy. I'll get into the Trump Supreme Court stuff when we get back. I'm trying to move along here. The show is flying by. 205-545-9950. More of the line next. All right, let me squeeze this in real quick because I got a lot to say this next hour. I want y'all to hang with me. So Donald Trump puts out a post about SCOTUS, and what this is in the lead up to a decision being made against about birthright citizenship, and he is what he's doing here is he's predicting the court's going to rule against him, and I personally wouldn't be surprised by that, although the court should obviously look at the Constitution from time to time and come to an obvious conclusion. But he says, how can the Democrats not like how the U.S. Supreme Court votes? The Democrat justices stick together like glue, never failing to wander from the warped and perverse policies, ideas, and cases put before them. They always vote as a group or block. Even that new low IQ person that somehow found her way to the bench, Sleepy Joe, the Republican justices don't stick together. They give the Democrats win after win, like a $159 billion pile of cash on a completely ridiculous tariff decision. By the way, with that, everyone's like, well, Trump said we was going to get stimulus checks from the tariffs. Well, he was going to give them to you. But guess what? The Supreme Court, which sucks, said you can't have it. And nasty, one-sided questions on the country-destroying subject of birthright citizenship, something which virtually no other country in the world is stupid enough to allow. It was meant for the babies of slaves, not for the babies of Chinese billionaires. No certain Republican justices just have gotten weak, stupid, and bad, completely violating what they supposedly stood for. Handing over $159 billion in tariff refunds to people who have been ripping off our country for years is unexplainable. One little sentence would have stopped this record-setting payment from having to be made. It is a travesty. Their tariff decision was an unnecessary and expensive slap in the face to the USA and a giant victory for its opponents. That's his prediction.